Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our Retire Your Legacy BI platform with USEReady's Accelerated Migration webinar. My name is Michelle Hauser, and I am the Community and Events Manager for USEReady. Before I introduce you to our panel today, allow me just a moment to share a few housekeeping items. If at any time you experience a technical issue, please send a chat message to USEReady webinar, and I will do my best to assist. We encourage you to share any questions that you may have with our panelists using our Q&A feature, and we will do our best to answer any submitted questions during the program. Should we be unable to answer your questions due to time constraints, we will reach out at the conclusion of the webinar. I am joined today by panelist Jeff Meck, Senior Vice President, Go-to-Market. Jeff supports USEReady's go-to-market solutions and has worked in the data and analytics space for 25 years. Today's other featured panelist is Practice Area Lead Visual Analytics, Atul Verma. Atul and his team support BI modernization and legacy migrations enablement for global customers at USEReady. Turning it over to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Michelle, and thanks everyone for joining our MigratorIQ Legacy BI Migration webinar this morning. I'm Jeff Meck, and shortly you'll hear from my colleague Atul Verma.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our Retire Legacy BI platform with USEReady's Accelerated Migration webinar. My name is Michelle Hauser, and I am the Community and Events Manager for USEReady. Before I introduce you to our panel today, allow me just a moment to share a few housekeeping items. If at any time you experience a technical issue, please send a chat message to USEReady webinar, and I will do my best to assist. We encourage you to share questions that you may have with our panelists using the Q&A feature, and we'll do our best to answer any submitted questions during the program. Should we be unable to answer your question due to time constraints, we'll reach out at the conclusion of the webinar. I am joined today by panelist Jeff Meck, Senior Vice President, Go-to-Market. Jeff supports USEReady's go-to-market solution and has worked in the data and analytics space for over 25 years. Today's other featured panelist is Practice Area Lead Visual Analytics, Atul Verma. Atul and his team support BI modernization and legacy migrations engagement for global customers at USEReady. Turning it over to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Michelle, and good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining our migration webinar, Legacy BI Migration to Modern BI. I'm Jeff Meck, and shortly you'll hear from my colleague Atul Verma. In this session, we'll discuss key considerations for legacy migration. We'll also introduce our MigratorIQ Accelerated Migration Program. We'll briefly touch on a notional engagement model, and we'll review a couple customer success stories. At the end, we'll review and try to answer any questions that you submit through the Q&A chat entry point. I'm having trouble with the drop down. There we go. So before we get started, let's do a quick intro of USEReady. We're a data and analytics consultancy focused on helping customers succeed with data. We focus on solutions that help our customers modernize, migrate, and optimize their data and analytics ecosystems, including services from strategic advisory to architecture and implementation to managed services. We're headquartered in New York City, but have additional offices in New Jersey and Mississauga, Canada, Bangalore and Gurgaon, India, and the Republic of Singapore. We have close to 500 employees. As you'll see from our logos, we support customers across several industries and sectors. We have several products or solutions, one of which is MigratorIQ that we'll be discussing today, that help customers with their transformations and migrations, and also help fill unmet data and analytics capabilities like our Pixel Perfect reporting product. So what's happening that's driving the acceleration of BI modernization? As you'll see, Gartner points to the value of being data-centric for maintaining and growing competitive advantage. Additionally, an S&P Global Market Intelligence Survey reported that 56% of respondents see the key reason for being data-driven in an organization is to foster business agility. So what's driving the need for business agility? Primarily, we're seeing an increase in additional data sets that can be driven from climate, economic, and political data to enable the agile, quick decision-making. Business users need to be in the driver's seat in terms of accessing data, reports, and analytics they need with ease, along with information which may not be available in canned reports and dashboards. Enterprise users require a BI platform that provides current real-time data from multiple sources, including streaming, and allows for changes, modifications, and new reports quickly. Intuitive analytics and insights that are easy to grasp by decision makers and viewers. Legacy BI platforms clearly can't meet the above requirements. So let's look at how legacy and modern platforms compare. The business case for modern BI is clear and to support agile decision-making. Legacy BI can't support agile decision-making for the reasons provided. Minimal self-service, poor UI, custom program is often required. Whereas modern BI programs are positioned to enable decision makers with rich intuitive UI, self-service, quick ability to change and add data sets and feature and new reports, quick ingestion, and so forth. Yet, as the Harvard Business Review survey noted, shows only 26.5% of enterprises claim to be data-driven. Hence, enterprises have transformation hesitancy in migrating to modern BI platforms, most notably because of cost, effort, and legacy use cases. Our MigratorIQ acceleration program serves to help overcome these transformation migration concerns for enterprises. I'll hand over now to Atul Verma to provide an overview of MigratorIQ, our legacy to modern BI automations accelerator.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
So as Jeff mentioned, right, even we have a compelling business use case for migration, yet due to multiple concerns and considerations, IT and businesses hold back from legacy BI migration. With traditional migration approach, enterprises usually have concerns like how they will be able to understand the unknowns and complexity of their source systems, how modern BI will support legacy use cases, how they can manage risk associated with manual migration, it's error prone, and most importantly, how they can have a clear success criteria for migration and how they can define successful milestones and migration project plan. In last 12 years, USEReady partnered with multiple enterprises and helped them in sunsetting their legacy BI platforms like ClickView, Hyperion, and SAP BobJ. Hence, we come up with MigratorIQ, which addresses these shared concerns. MigratorIQ is an accelerated migration program, which enables enterprises for seamless migration of their legacy BI platform to modern BI technologies like Tableau. We understand that legacy BI platforms are evolved during last 2 decades to support number of customized use cases like report busting, formatting reports. Hence, we cannot have one migration template or product for all legacy BI platforms. Please note, MigratorIQ is not one push button product, but an accelerated migration program, which is supported by set of accelerators that accelerates key migration processes like discovery, migration, validation of the report, and improve the migration turnaround time by 35 to 45% and reduce migration costs significantly. MigratorIQ is based on proven framework, that is plan, migrate, and validate, and help us in supporting scalable migrations where we have 15 to 30,000 Hyperion or SAP BO reports, right, which we want to migrate to Tableau. or any other modern BI technologies. To support legacy use cases like formatted reports, report bursting, and address the last mile customer problem, USEReady developed a product, Pixel Perfect, which plays an important role with Tableau in supporting all these legacy use cases. It works as an extension with Tableau, and hence, as a business user, they have a seamless experience and support for their legacy use cases within their existing Tableau environment. Now, Jeff, can we move to the next slide? Yeah. So now, as we understood what MigratorIQ is, right, now let's understand how migration cycle is powered by MigratorIQ. We see a migration cycle in 3 steps: discovery, data preparation, and target conversion. USEReady has developed different accelerators for different BI tools, which automates and accelerates these steps. For example, in discovery, we have accelerators which analyze the content of your legacy BI platforms, determine the complexity of different reports, and extract the data scripts and metadata for these reports. These metadata and SQL scripts for these legacy reports are pushed to a layer which we call metric store. And this staging of queries provide us also an opportunity to rationalize. The SQL queries are then converted into a published data source through a set of templated prep flows and target conversion accelerators. Besides content, which is reports, MigratorIQ program also takes care of migration of users, schedules, and other important stuff from your legacy and migrate it to modern BI technologies, like I said, Tableau. Now let's move to the next slide, where we'll understand how MigratorIQ follows a specific migration approach for a specific source platforms. As I mentioned, MigratorIQ is a program where we have different accelerators, migration approach, and different level of automation for different legacy BI tools. For enterprises which are looking for quick migration sunset, we have accelerators which provide precise migration estimates, accelerates the discovery of source QEW files, and generates report data, metadata, which can be used for further migration. It is supported by specific migration approach with respect to ClickView. Similarly, I take an example of Hyperion Rev. We have a different set of accelerators which help in effort estimation, and then try to understand the SQL query behind these Brio reports and help them in migration with a specific migration approach. MigratorIQ also supports enterprises who want to look to migrate from Tableau on-prem to Tableau Cloud with a specific accelerator, which we call Storm. Even though for different legacy BI platforms, we have a different set of accelerators and different level of automation and different migration approach, they all are built on a foundation principle and a proven migration framework, which enables acceleration and ensures the success of migration program. Now so Jeff, thanks. Now let's discuss about this migration framework. MigratorIQ is based on this framework, which we call Plan, Migrate, and Validate, and it has 3 phases. Plan prepares team as assessment of their source BI platforms, mitigate risk, and define the success criteria for the migration. USEReady framework brings pre-built questionnaire, templates, and automated scripts, which we call accelerators, to help in the faster execution of the plan phase compared to the traditional processes. We try to understand with business that, okay, we want to have a full-blown migration or we want to do it in a phase-wise manner. Many things like that we cover in the plan phase. Then we move to the migrate phase, where as per the specific source BI platform, we have different accelerators comes into the play. And at the end, we ensure validation of these migrated assets with a proper QA process, which actually enables us to have a successful project completion. Most of the scenarios, we look for optimization for opportunities during the end or migration, during the end of the migration or during the process of migration, as per what we decide in the discovery phase. Now, let me hand over to Jeff, right, to walk you through how a migration engagement will look like. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Atul. So this slide just represents kind of how we set up the program, respective of the process that Atul just walked us through. So we generally start with a phase 1 or phase 0, we sometimes call it, that aligns to the planning. And the planning primarily includes the discovery, report inventory analysis, and migration planning and strategy. So there's often a strategy involved because there can legacy platforms can be very widely distributed across an organization in different functional areas. And it's often times a requirement that we actually understand the priorities across those functional groups and business units in order to establish a plan that makes sense for the organization. So as we finish that up, we create a detailed plan, and the detailed plan is a representation of how we break up the report groups into different project increments, and different project increments can include multiple sub-teams we call pods in order to do delivery that includes the migration and the validation from the process that O'Toole went through in different phases. So there's incremental delivery throughout the course of the engagement. So in this case, it's just broken out where you have three pods per group over a period of time. But that varies entirely based on like the platform you're coming from, the number of reports, and other considerations that come into play. Throughout the course of that of phase 2, we're also generally starting to do training, and training can usually include formal classroom-based training, as well as coaching based training that will perform on an ongoing basis with your teams. So now let's talk a little bit about a couple customer success stories. So the first mentioned over on the left was one of the first that we did for a Fortune 500 fintech, where we migrated 1,000 legacy Hyperion Brio reports and achieved basically a 70% expedited migration time through our accelerators. One important thing to kind of introduce here, and it was mentioned earlier in our conversation, was the use of Pixel Perfect. Pixel Perfect is a user-ready product that is a Tableau add-on, separately licensed directly by the customer. Pixel Perfect is very important for most of our customers because it covers the last mile requirements associated with replicating legacy platform report formats that are required for many customers to be able to move to platforms like Tableau. So Pixel Perfect essentially provides well-formatted paginated reports and allows customers who continue to meet existing output format requirements for compliance and other reasons. Pixel Perfect outputs can include PDFs, Excel, or PowerPoint formats, and these get created by simply clicking on the options that will be shown on the dashboards in Tableau when using the Pixel Perfect add-on. The second story to the right there was a migration for a large semiconductor company that included multiple platforms, Hyperion Brio again, Oracle OBIEE, and ClickView. This migration involved 1,200 reports that we migrated. The team worked on the front end of the effort with the customer's team to prioritize and create a strategy for migrating reports across multiple business functions and divisions through the multi-pod, multi-project increment approach I showed previously. And the third customer story was for a large airline and included 800 business critical reports. Also were Hyperion Brio, but also were Toad BI reports. And in this particular effort, we saw a 40% reduction in migration effort and time through our accelerators, as well as a 30% optimization of target report counts. So we basically, through rationalization and through optimization of reports, aggregating reports and data sources, a 30% reduction there. So let's talk a little bit about next steps. We would love to hear from you and would be happy to schedule a working session to review your existing BI platforms, report inventories, and discuss a plan that works for your organization. Such a session would involve both your business and technical stakeholders so that we can understand the modernization objectives and business and analytics landscape. We may also conduct a lightweight automated discovery or review some representative report examples, depending on platforms. This will help us understand important characteristics of your report inventory to help with defining a plan, defining the expected level of effort, and related costs to migrate. And with that, let's review some questions if we have some.
Hi, Jeff. We have a few questions that were sent to me directly. So the first is, we have a business objects platform that we are looking to sunset. Can you share a little more about the level of migration automation that you typically achieve and maybe what goes into the determination?
I'll take it, Jeff.
Okay.
So we have a significant level of automation in SAP BO to Tableau migration, right? We have accelerators that generate SQL scripts for WebI report, DESKI reports, and Crystal reports, and also understand the universe and report calculations. These queries and the metadata are then used by target-specific converters, right, to publish the target reports. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Atul. The second question I received was, my question relates to project execution. Do you normally break out the two phases into separate contracts, or how does that work?
I can take that one. So our experience is that it is best to break out the statements of work by phase, because going into a migration engagement, and no matter how much we do up front, like through the workshops I mentioned, or through additional discovery through the sales process, it's difficult to achieve a perfect level of effort and corresponding cost estimate up front before doing the deep dive analysis, followed by migration strategy and planning effort that we normally do as part of phase one. Once this is complete, we will have a detailed plan and view into exactly what the effort will take in terms of resources, time, and effort. Hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
The third question I received is, I have a question relating to the execution of the program. What kind of involvement do you typically require from legacy report business owners?
Great question. I can hit that one again. So we typically need some involvement and assistance from legacy report business owners in the beginning of phase one to help with report inventory analysis, understanding the reports, understanding the environments, and also migration prioritization. What makes sense to migrate first and in what groups and so forth. Additionally, in phase two, as we produce the target platform reports, we need their help with user acceptance validation and making sure that reports were replicated or duplicated in proper terms. Hope that answers that question.
Thanks, Jeff.
Sure. Any other questions? I don't think so. You can submit them in the Q&A chat feature if you'd like. Okay, if there are no more questions, I'll hand it back to, oh, sorry.
No, nothing. I think Jeff.
Okay. If there are no more questions, I'll hand it back to Michelle to wrap things up. Thank you very much for your time today. We look forward to hearing from you and setting up a working session.
Thank you, Jeff and Atul. And thank you all for joining us today. We hope you found this presentation insightful. We'll be sharing a link to review the recording of today's session, but please feel free to send us an email at MigratorIQ@userready.com for more information about our MigratorIQ solution. Thank you so much.